Brent, welcome to the Sober Side podcast. It's a pleasure to have you. How much time clean do you have, and what was your drug of choice?
I have 2 years clean, and my drug of choice was methamphetamine.
Gotcha. And can you tell us what you're doing now, where you're working, how you're involved in the field of addiction?
Well, I work at Cry Help, which is a pretty big rehab here in LA.
Yeah.
I live in a sober living still. I go to my meetings. I help as many people as I possibly can reach recovery, and I just try to follow a good life, you know?
Yeah. How do you like your job?
I love it.
Yeah?
Yeah, so rewarding.
Working in treatment?
Yes. There's like 2 paychecks. There's your actual physical paycheck, but then your real paycheck is when you get to see the light turn on in someone's eyes where you were able to help them and they get it and they see they want to live now, you know? That's the ultimate payment. That's what I love about working in
That's
treatment.
awesome, man. There's a lot of good things that I heard about Cry Help. So for the audience that doesn't know, there's 2 types of treatment centers. I would say there's the state-run programs. Cry Help is a state-run program,
Yes,
right? If I'm not mistaken. And then you have your private centers, more kind of on the luxury end. Doesn't mean that there's a difference in quality. Well, usually there is, but with Cry Help, I have only good things to say about Cry Help because I know quite a few people that have come out of there and are doing great. So all the praise to Cry Help, man.
Cool.
How do you think that working in the field of addiction helps with your recovery?
Well, I actually get to be around recovery every day, and the people that I'm surrounded with now are all in recovery, and I get to get my examples from them, you know, and follow their lead and see what I need to do next, and it just gives me a positive feeling about myself, you know.
That's amazing. And you mentioned that you go to meetings.
Yes.
How many meetings do you do a week?
Like 5 a week.
It's a lot, man. It's like a full-time job.
It's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
So NA meetings, right?
Yeah, I go to NA
Narcotics
meetings.
Anonymous.
Sometimes I like to mix it up and go to like CA meetings because they make me laugh and it's like hilarious. And
CA is Cocaine Anonymous?
Cocaine Anonymous, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like fun. you know?
Really?
Yeah, they're funny. It's like a comedy show almost.
Because everyone's like partying.
Yeah, it's like I was a
pretty much.
crackhead and telling crazy stories, you know, so it's kind of fun.
That's awesome, man. And for the audience who doesn't know, AA or NA meetings, it's 12-step based, right?
Yes, 12-step based.
Okay. How would you classify the 12-step based versus, non-12-step based?
Well, I think that the 12 steps are like a blueprint, you know, and it's tried and tested. And if you actually put the work in and follow the book and listen to it and follow your steps, you grow in like incremental ways that like you can't do any other way. It's like they've designed it specifically for growth in recovery. It's amazing. It's like every step you expand. You know?
What was the toughest step for you? Because you have to go through each step, right?
The 4th step. 4th
step. And can you tell us which one that is?
That's when you are doing your inventory, your self-inventory, and like it's deep. You have to like journal out everything in your life, you know, the good and the bad, you know.
Okay. So inventory as in you list all the good things in your life, all the bad things in your life.
Like just pretty much an autobiography, you know, like you kind of get the chance to study yourself.
Interesting. Why would you say that's harder than the making amends step?
Well, because like you have to look at things that you didn't really pay attention to before and see like the good, the bad, and the ugly within yourself, you know, and like some things you just don't want to even bring back up, you know, like I've done some things myself that I didn't want to think about again. And some things have happened to me that like I didn't want to think about, but I did. And it's like, I have to grow. It's the only way to grow is to stop and actually realize what it is that I'm going through, you know, and why I'm going through it. Because I could be going through things that I don't even realize why or what's happening, you know? And it kind of takes out that trigger, you know, that I didn't even know was there, you know?
That's an interesting perspective. How do you motivate the people that you work with, like the clients at Cry Help, to embark on this journey of the 12-step?
Just by example, you know, like I let them see how happy I am and how, you know, like I talk to them and let them know, like, look what's going on, you know, like where I came from, total bottom, you know, total gutter, no hope, lost, and I was able to do it. And now look at me today. I'm working, have a place to stay, I have a car, I'm able to help people. Like, can't get any better.
Yeah, man, that sounds like a great life. Did you, while in your addiction, I know you mentioned you didn't have hope, but like, did you ever imagine that you'd be,
Actually,
kind of like doing a podcast about recovery today?
Never. I never even, to tell you the truth, like the realization of what this life is, I wish I would have got this 20 years ago, or took the time to realize what it is, because I honestly had no clue what life was about and what it is, and what I could offer and what I could actually put in to being like free,
Yeah. And what would you say is the most rewarding part of your job?
Actually being here, being able to be here for my family and people, just actually being able to be reliable, and like if you need something, I'm there, and just it gives me a good feeling, as opposed to before, like you could ask me something and I would say yes, but I wouldn't get around to it for 2 weeks, like if I ever at all, so being accountable, being here, and just it feels good.
Awesome, man.
That's the best part.
Awesome. So I want to get into your story.
Okay.
You're local to the San Fernando Valley. That's where we're based out of, Southern California. Tell us about your childhood growing up. What was the first memory that you can think of? It doesn't have to do with drugs, just like what's the first thing you can remember out of your
I
childhood?
grew up in the system, right? And I was in a place called McLaren Hall. The place was named McLaren Hall, a place for lost, abandoned, abused, and unwanted children, and that was my first memories, is growing up in like somewhat of a hell, having to fight every day, just to survive, and like it kind of gradually just turned into an institutional life, because that's what I was used to, like that's what I thought life was about, honestly, like I had no clue what a mom and dad or a home or like people that love you was about, it was just constant, looking out, watching my back, fighting every single day, and never really having a chance to relax, So that's how my childhood was.
So like at 5 years old, you remember like having to fight to survive.
Yes. Yeah.
That's pretty tough, man.
Yeah.
And, if you don't mind me asking, like where were your parents at this time? What were they doing?
My mom was in prison, and I don't know where my dad was, because I never got to meet him,
Okay. And could we ask like what led your mom to prison, and how come? Because there's a lot of people who, like women. We had a guest a few weeks ago, and she was pregnant while in prison, and the government kind of like helped her. She was fighting 10 years, and they cut her sentence down by 9 years, and they let her out early. So how come that wasn't the case for your mom?
Because this was the 80s, and like, things were completely different back then. Like, you didn't catch breaks like that. It was tough on crime, and if you were involved in any kind of crime, you were going to jail, and you were going to go to jail for a long time. And so my mom was wrapped up in the game out here at SFE, running around, selling drugs, doing fraud, doing whatever she could, and she ended up getting caught. And she did it so many times that they gave her what was called the Habitual Criminal Act, which is like the 3 strikes now,
Oh, okay.
And so she was in prison like most of my life.
Wow. Is she with us today?
Yeah, she's like 10 and a half years sober. She lives in Florida, and she's doing good.
Awesome. Shout out to mom.
What's up, Mom?
And so you do have a sister as well.
Yes.
And was your sister with you in this kind of like is it foster, or is
it was juvenile care?
Juvenile
I guess
care.
it would be like Department of Children's Services, but it was just like a little jail for little kids, and like kids that didn't have parents, and it was like a fucked up feeling, like that.
Man.
It turned into like I want my mom, and where's she at, and into like a what's wrong with me, how come she doesn't want me type thing, and every kid in there was feeling that way, and it made us angry, like we were very angry kids because of that, and like my biggest nightmare was I never really knew what was happening to my sister, because she's a girl and she's like on a different part of the place, so I always wondered where she was at, and like they would hold you there until a foster home came and got you, and like a foster home came and got us like 4 times, and I refused to ever go anywhere unless my sister came too, and It was fucked up. I fucked up because a couple of those places were nice. They were like loving families. And if we would have just stayed, we would have probably been good, you know? But I would always do something crazy when they started talking about adoption, you know, because I wanted to go with my mom. You know, my mom was coming. In my mind, she was on her way, you know? So we would end up back in McLaren Hall and start the cycle over again.
So at what age was your first experience with someone who was trying to adopt you?
Probably like 5, 6 years old. And it happened a few times all the way until I was like 14. And our aunt came and got us and took us with her to move to Bakersfield, which was like a nightmare in itself. Like, that sucked, you know, because she would tell us like we're only there for the check. You know, the only reason we're there is because she's getting a check for us, you know.
Oh, wow.
So it was really like lonely and like messed up, you know.
Yeah.
But that's how that went.
And what were these like crazy things that you would do if you don't mind me asking? Like, I don't
Like,
think
I hit one kid with a skateboard and like busted his face all the way open. You know, like I would do something crazy like that. You know, I set one car on fire, like just bad shit. You know,
Yeah.
shit nobody thinks about, but especially kids.
I mean, you know, kids are mischievous.
Yeah.
But so you had experience with like people trying to come get you with the adoption, and then your aunt appears in the picture.
Yeah.
So was that the first time you leave this institution permanently?
Yes.
Okay. And how was that experience? Like, was that the first time you met your aunt?
Yes. That I could remember, you know, and that experience was like, it sucked, you know, because here I was thinking we're going with family, but we weren't treated like family.
Mom, sister, or dad's sister?
Yeah, mom, sister.
Mm-hmm.
And like she took us all the way out to Bakersfield. Like, and Bakersfield wasn't like built back then. It was just like cotton fields, you know. So we're in this house in the middle of a fucking big cotton field, you know, and like her boyfriend used to beat the shit out of me, you know, like a man, like a full grown man. Like I was fighting this guy like all the time. He'd come home drunk and start fighting me, like beating me up, you know, and like
At what age was this?
I was like 14. I was a little kid too. Like I didn't grow up until I was like 19, you know. I was a little kind of small dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what was your first experience with drugs or alcohol, like a mood, mind altering substance?
So when I was 11 years old at McLaren Hall, some kid had some drugs, you know, and like, I didn't know what they were, but he was like, come on, you snort this, you know, and I snorted it and got hooked immediately. Like I was so addicted to it, like right away. I loved staying awake, you know, because when I was awake, I felt like they couldn't hurt me, you know? And so that became my thing, and somehow, some way, it was always there, you know? And so I just did it all the time.
What was this substance?
Methamphetamine.
Methamphetamine. And how old was this kid? How did he find methamphetamine?
Like the same age. He brought it in with him.
What age was this at?
11 years old.
11 years old. How do you find meth at 11 years old? That's such a...
It happens. Especially like if your parents use and you see it all the time or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you go to your aunt's. Was she battling with addiction?
Yes, but we never saw that until later on, like at like 16 years old or so. Like I found some baggies, you know, and then like I knew what she was doing. She did coke, but kept it on the low, you know?
And her boyfriend was drinking.
Yeah, drinking all the time.
Drinking all the time. And so you're living this nightmare, right? In Bakersfield, which is a nightmare in its own. How do you get out of there? What happens after that?
I ended up like me and the you know, uncle, whatever, we ended up fucking getting into it so bad that like the aunt took me back to McLaren Hall. She kept my sister, but she took me back, you know, and like they put me in a placement, and I was in a placement right here on Van Nuys Boulevard, and I caught my first crime because my mom was out of jail, and I knew she was out of jail, but I had no idea where she lived. But so I would run away every single night, right? And I would pull the fire alarm and take off every single night and just walk around the streets because I knew she was in the valley, but I didn't know where, nothing, you know. But I was walking, and then like they can't do anything to you as a juvenile when you do that. When you're DCFS, it's not illegal. You can run away, you know. So they couldn't do shit. And every morning I would come back. Well, they put me on pills, right, on these things called Meloril, and they didn't do anything to me. The psych meds, I would still go every night. So they traded me to Thorazine, and I was like, fuck you, this pills ain't gonna work. I'm still gonna go. And I took the pill, And as soon as I got out of the door, boom, it hit me. And I just sat down by the door and just banged on it to let me back in, you know? So I refused to take him. And I took off again another night with this black kid, Maurice. And we were walking. And somehow I found this house right here on Peach Street. And I just knew it was her house, you know? And
What age was this, by the way?
I was like 15, 16.
And you've been doing meth every day since 11.
Yes.
So for like 5 years already, you're doing meth. How are you getting the money to buy it?
We didn't really ever have to buy it, you know? I'm local, you know, and like local
They would
boys,
just give it to you?
yeah, local boys really never had to buy it, you know?
That's pretty crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Giving drugs, meth to a kid, that's crazy, man.
A lot of people did it back then. A lot of fucking people did it. It's not so much now, you know? Now it's more fentanyl and everything, but back then it seemed like everybody did it.
It's like a different level when, as an adult, you're giving it to a kid, or just, I don't know, man. I don't want to get into that. Might say some things I can't say on the internet.
You're right. It's like fucked up. Like, how could someone do that? You know, but it really happens all the time.
Yeah. So you're on Peach Street. Mm-hmm. How do you know this is your mom's house?
I don't even really know how I knew. Like, that's something that always like was a mystery to me. Like,
how did you know she got out?
I don't even know. I just knew she was there. And I fucking found this house, and I walk up, and I got this kid with me, and there's all kinds of badass cars in the driveway, IROCs and Monte Carlos, and there's actual dump truck, like one that's so big you can't drive on the street, in the front yard, you know? And I walk up, and I see this fucking crazy dude. He's like doing some kind of like Native American thing, like with smoke and shit hanging from the trees, and I'm like, what the fuck? And as soon as he looked at me, he turned into like a ghost, and he was like, and I was like, I'm looking for my mom. And he was I'm gonna get her on the phone, you know. And that ended up being her husband. She had married this guy. He was from Venice Trece, and he takes us in the house, and she comes, you know. And like, it was crazy seeing my mom like that for the first time. Like, she's all leathered out and fucking on speed and like intense, you know, very intense woman. And she comes in and she tells me right away, she's like, you have to go back. And I was like, what? And she said, but your friend can stay. And I was like, what? I was like, are you serious? And she said, yeah, because they're going to come looking for you here. They're not going to come looking for him here, you know? And I was like, brokenhearted, dude. I was like, it shattered me, you know? And she gives me these clothes and a Raiders jacket, a leather Raiders jacket, and actually takes me back to the place right here on Van Nuys. It was called Mid-Valley Youth Center, right? And drops me off and tells me, go. So I went inside and just like going through emotions like I couldn't even imagine, dude. And like, I got into a fight the next morning with someone there, and I left and went right across the street and robbed the liquor store. Caught my first term.
Okay. So why was she afraid of them coming to look for you?
Because she's my mom, so like, obvious place to go look for someone. A kid that's gone would be moms, you know? Like, she was smart in that manner. Like, you know, like all these years later, I see exactly why she would do something like that. But at the time, man, it was like earth-shattering, you know? Like, I couldn't believe she did that to me after looking for her all the time, every night, you know? Just
the fact that you found her is insane.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. So you robbed the liquor store.
Yeah.
You get arrested at what, 16?
16 years old. I go to Somar Juvenile Hall, and they sentenced me to camp term, you know, and I did a
What's
camp
that?
term, like a camp in juvenile camp. Instead of YA, I went to camp.
It's like camping?
You know, it's like just like a little jail, you know?
Okay.
There's a place out there in Lancaster, it's called Challenger. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's like looks like a prison. It's right next to the prison, but it's for the kids, you know? And I went there and did a term. And it was like a kind of a catch-22 a little bit, because now my mom had custody of me because I was DCFS, but when you go to juvenile hall, who do they call to pick you up? Your parents, you know? So now she had custody of me. So I was out of the DCFS and I'm in with my mom, you know? And like, she was doing big things, you know? So I was like, and she was trying to buy my love and shit, you know? So I had pounds of weed and all the new bongs and everything, you know? And like, just doing meth and going crazy, you know?
But you were with your mom.
Yeah, but I was with my mom. Yeah.
So how was that experience like, you know, like seeing your mom doing these things and, you know, kind of being used to it at this point?
It was kind of like my mom was a gangster, you know, and like well respected, and like everybody knew her. Anybody that was about something knew her and respected her, and like she sold like a lot, big amounts, you know, and like, so I kind of looked up to it in a way, you know, because I would meet these fools that would come from prison, and I would be like, I want to be like them, you know, like they seem like solid and strong, and everybody gets out of their way when they walk by, you know, and like I was like, I want to be like these fools, you know, and ended up going to jail again for a burglary, and decided to start my own little thing in there, you know, and like that were the same as those guys, but in juvenile hall now, you know, and I recruited all the white boys, and we started our own clique, you know, and it was like the gang life started then.
Interesting. So, your mom's giving you money. You have all of this, you know, you're living a pretty decent life for the circumstances, right? Why do you decide to do the robbery? Was it because you're kind of like part of that life and you have to, you know, get some W's under the belt, or what is it?
To be honest, like, I don't even know why I did that. Like, we had ditched school, me and like 5 other friends, and well, they would all come to my house and smoke weed, you know, and like my mom didn't like trip, you know, and so they came over and we took off walking around the block, and I was like, let's go in that house, you know, go knock on the door and see if anybody answers. If they don't answer, we'll go in the window, you know, and that's what happened. And I filled my pockets full of jewelry, and when we came out of the house, like the cops had just rolled up on us and they searched us, and when they found all the jewelry, they were like, what's this? And I'm like, oh, my friends got in a fight. They asked me to hold it, you know, and they went and looked, and we didn't put the screen back on. So they found a house, and we got a residential burglary.
This was at like 16?
Yeah.
So you weren't going to school at this time?
No, I was supposed to be going to school, and like I would go to this continuation, Albert Einstein, right behind Monroe High School, and as long as I did the first like period or whatever, when they gave us the fucking break, I could take off, you know, and get credit for that day, or at least that's what I thought, you know. Well, like 7 months later, my probation officer calls me and says I'm like one of his best caseloads. He wants to take us fishing, you know. He takes us deep sea fishing, and
that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, it was tight. I thought so, you know. And we came back and we were on the news and shit, you know. And fucking, I had court in like a couple days.
You were on the news?
I was on the news.
What do you mean?
For like, they made it for like all these underprivileged kids, and look what the probation office is doing for them, you know. Like, he didn't make it seem like that, but then that's what it was, you know. And a couple days later, I go to court, and I think I'm all good, you know. And then like some guy stands up from the audience or whatever, and he's like, okay, Brenton was here on this day until this time, and then he was over here on this corner, and like they had been following me, you know, and like logging what I was doing. Like I thought that was pretty crazy, because you'd act like I'm some kind of crazy gangster or something, you know, and like, but they had every day that I ditched school, and so they made me do another camp term.
Just for ditching school?
Yeah.
They made you go to jail for ditching school,
yeah.
basically.
Yep. Another year in the camp.
Interesting. So the burglary thing happens, and how did you guys like decide to choose the house? Was it like random, or you guys saw a nice house, you're like, maybe this one?
Just completely random.
Okay.
Yeah, just go knock on that door and see if they answer, you know?
Okay. And then, so you go to juvie, okay? And then the deep sea fishing stuff happens after that.
Before that. A couple days before I go back to juvie.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you go back to court and the guy who was following you testifies and says, okay, he's been doing this, doing that, they take you in.
Yes, for another year.
For another year. 1 year.
1 year.
Okay. And then that's where you kind of like form this clique and, you know, start getting into that type of things. What's the drug use like during this time?
Well, when I got to juvenile hall, the drug use kind of stopped, you know. It was just cigarettes or whatever every now and then until I got to camp, and then the drugs were back on, you know. And like I would do it, and like you really couldn't tell. Like I would fake like I'm sleeping at night and get back up and just do everything like I was normal, you know. But when I got out from there, that's when it really kicked into play, because my best homeboy, his mom was dating this guy that was the cook, you know, and like he's cooking dope for the Vagos motorcycle gang or club or whatever it's, you know, and testing it out basically on us, you know, and like just we would do so much dope, and we were like wide awake for weeks and weeks, you know, and like it was crazy, dude. That shit was crazy. So we had like access to unlimited amounts, you know.
So when you say awake, like you mean like awake for
like literally awake for weeks.
That's crazy.
Not sleeping until our body shut us down, you know.
That's wild.
Yeah. Past the part of hallucinating, past that, you know?
So what happens like week 3 or like let's say week 2 into like not being asleep, like 10 days after like not sleeping, like what's that feeling like?
That's the part that I got addicted to, right?
Really?
That's when you start seeing shit, you know, like things moving and you start seeing people, fucking shadow people, you know, and I liked it. I loved that part, you know? I liked to trip, you know, like that was my thing.
So the trip wasn't in the beginning. It happens like 10 days into it.
The sleep deprivation kicks in and whoa, shit's weird now, you know?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I thought sleep deprivation would kick in like a day, 2 days, maybe like 3 days after, right? But
well, back then the dope was like real, you know, like you did one line and you were up for 8 days. Like you fucking could not sleep. You could not eat. There was nothing. You were fucking tweaking. Your jaw was clenched. Like, see my teeth? They're all little because I'm grinding. Like it was fucking gnarly, dude. The dope was like completely different than today, you know, for sure. Like, whoa.
wow. It was a lot stronger.
Way stronger. So much stronger.
Oh, wow. And so how did they change it? Like, why is it different now?
The government took out that chemical. It was propanol. They put a ban on that chemical, so they changed the chemical propanol to ephedrine. And ephedrine, you know, is just like whatever's in cold medicine, you know. Well, they don't even use ephedrine no more. Now they use pseudoephedrine, and it's like weak, watered down. It doesn't work. The people that are doing meth nowadays, they can't stay up more than 2 days. They're going to sleep.
Interesting. Okay, so juvie, you know, there's a little bit of drug use. When you come out, it goes crazy because your best friend's mom's boyfriend is the cook for the motorcycle people. So you guys have an endless amount of this crazy shit. And what happens? Like, where does that road take you?
Well, it ends up to where like eventually the place gets raided, and like for whatever he was doing, you know, and like
how did the cops know? Like, how did they find out?
It was like obvious, you know, like all of a sudden you have fucking race cars and shit and fucking people coming over on Harleys and it was just obvious, you know, like
a lot of activity and
lots
stuff.
of activity, dude. It was constant in and out, big amounts coming in and out all the time, you know. And so they raid the house, and like we were like, fuck, they're coming in, you know. And like I had some dope in my pocket, and I fucking totally forgot about it, dude. So when they searched us, they found that dope on my pocket, and I was like, oh, I got these from the Salvation Army. I don't know whose pants they are. Fuck it, you're going to jail. So I went to jail again for another year.
For possession of methamphetamine?
Yeah.
So, and nowadays, do they take you in if you have possession of methamphetamine?
They just take it from you and let you go.
Why do you think they're, you know, it sounded like it was a lot stricter back then, but also the dope was stronger. Now it's weaker and they're less strict, but I feel like we have more of a problem now than back then, right?
Well, no, not really, because like back then the dope was so strong, everybody was breaking into everything, everybody was stealing everything, people were like murdering people, like, you know, really tripping. Like this was high octane. Like imagine somebody like on steroids, like you see one of these wrestlers, they're, oh, yeah, it was like that kind of a high, you know, and like,
wow.
So they had to go hard on it, you know, because the person's doing meth, he's definitely stealing, he's definitely hitting property crimes, he's definitely hurting people. So like, they change it. It doesn't really do anything to you.
There was nobody doing meth and like reading books.
No.
Okay.
Well, that wasn't happening.
Imagine how many books you can read on that shit.
Yeah.
Probably a whole encyclopedia. So they find dope on you. They take you in. This is, I'm guessing, like 17, 18?
Yeah.
So you go in for another year.
I was 17 and
17.
I did 1 year and I got out right before I turned 18. And then I messed up again, and they charged me as an adult, and I turned 18 in Chino State Prison.
In Chino State Prison. Okay. Yeah. So we're talking off camera a little bit. You have a son who is 26.
My daughter.
Your daughter, my apologies. And so you were 18.
Yes.
When she was born?
I was 17, but they charged me as an adult, so I turned 18 years old in Chino State Prison, and I did 16 months with half, which is 8 months. So I got out right at the end of my 18th birthday, and I didn't have any family, you know, so they sent me out to the desert where my aunt was, and that's where I went, back to my aunt. And the first chick that I met, the first time that we fucked, boom, baby, you know? And I was like, fuck. You know, I tried my best to do like, to provide, you know, but I was just fucking up because I was just going to the valley and bringing dope to the desert, you know.
The desert, like,
It's a place called Yucca Valley. Right?
okay.
A little ass fucking town in the middle of nowhere, like 30 miles east of Palm Springs.
Oh, so down south-ish.
Yeah.
Bakersfield is a little...
Yeah, up north, yeah. But Palm Springs, they live in Palm Springs now, like Yucca Valley.
Okay, so your aunt moves down there.
Yeah, so my grandpa, right, he's a war vet. He got his leg shot off in the Korean War, and he lived out there in the desert, right? And he hurt his back, so she moved over there to take care of him. So that's how we ended up out there.
And then the boyfriend was out of the picture at this time?
Yeah, totally different boyfriend now.
Okay, and he was less violent?
Yeah, he was cool. He didn't trip.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So you meet the girl, you have your daughter, you're trying to provide by going to the valley, coming back. How long does that last?
Not long at all, because I actually get us an apartment and we move into our own apartment, and there's these twins that live next door, right? And they had convinced us to let this guy move from San Diego in with us as a roommate, you know, and they're like, he gets a state check, he's cool, but he was schizophrenic. And I didn't know you couldn't get schizophrenics drunk, you know, and I got him drunk and he just wigged out in there, and I thought he was going to hurt my girl, you know, so I hurt him, you know, I body slammed him and fucked him up, you know, and they called the cops and they took me to jail.
Wait, I didn't know schizophrenics can't get drunk.
Yeah, I didn't know either, but...
Yeah. They don't get drunk, they go crazy? They're like, what's...
He was kind of like a little off, you know, like he'd be listening to his Korn album and like looking at the album cover and like explaining what these lyrics meant, like, and I'd be like, whatever, you know, but he like stayed to himself. But when I got him drunk, he fucking, whoa, dude, like he came out of the fucking woodwork, you know?
Okay. And the apartment was in the valley?
No, it was in Yucca Valley.
In Yucca Valley?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because even though I didn't want to live out there, I wanted to be with my homeboys. You know, I wanted to come back to the valley.
Yeah.
That's where I'm born and raised, and that's where I'm from. And I wanted to try to provide, you know, like I have a daughter coming, you know, like I want to try to be like somebody who's there for her, you know, but it didn't work. And I went to jail, you know, I went to jail in San Bernardino County, and I was out there and I caught a term.
Was it for selling drugs, or
no,
was
for
it
beating the guy up?
Oh, for beating the guy up. Yeah. That's right. Mm-hmm. So you beat him up, and then who calls the cops on you?
The neighbors, like the twin brothers, they called the cops on me.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Because that was their friend, you know. They were the ones that referred him to come move in there, you know. And I fucked him up, dude. Like I'm like,
really?
Yeah, I fucked him up. Like I couldn't understand. I didn't know like the extent of schizophrenia. I feel bad now, but like,
yeah,
at the moment, dude, I was like, I just socked him and he split open, you know, and like I just fucked him up, you know. I fucked that guy up.
Ah, man, I'm imagining that scene. It
sucked,
sounds crazy.
It sucked.
So how much time did they give you for that?
2 years. And by the time I did the 2 years, she was already long gone, you know, like, well, I had taken her down to the valley with me. And when I took her down to the valley, I kind of like ditched her. I fucking left her at my mom's and took off with my homeboys because I was embarrassed of her, really. I'm not going to lie. Like, she's from the desert, like, doesn't know anything about the game. And so I left her, you know, and came back and fucking, she kind of hated me for that, you know. But after I went to prison, she went her own way and I went my own way, you know.
Okay. So you go to prison for 2 years. How was your criminal experience developed during this time? You know, because you were in juvie, now you're in adult jail. Mm-hmm. So what was that shift like? Well,
now I had the fucking like chip on my shoulder and like I'm the head honcho, you know, like I'm running this shit, like type personality, you know what I mean? Like I'm from the valley and this is our house, you know, like, so I wanted to be like the man, you know, I wanted to be the one calling the shots, you know, so I was fully immersed in it, you know. I put myself into every aspect of the game that was possible, you know, and I politicked pretty hard, you know. Like I was involved with everybody. I was somebody in that life, you know, and I made a name for myself. And like everybody knew me as Sue Tough's son, right? Which is my mom, you know. Like I said, my mom's well respected.
Sue Tough.
Yeah, that's my mom, you know. So
it's a cool name.
Everybody be like, "Oh, that's Sue Tough's son," you know.
Yeah.
And in my mind, I didn't want to be known as that, you know. I wanted to be known as my nickname, you know, and that's who I wanted to be. I didn't want to be Sue Tough's son. I wanted to be so and so. You know,
it sounds interesting, man. I'm like imagining the movie in my head. I'm seeing you like going and talking to these guys and here and like, you know, at parts, you know, making people shake hands, at parts, you know, making them fight.
Orchestrating moves, you know, like real shit like you see in the movies, you know, like it was real, you know, and Did you like that? I loved it. I got off on it, you know, I really did.
Were you using during this time?
When I was in prison doing that part, no.
Why not?
Because you can't be taken serious.
If you're using drugs?
Yeah. Nobody's,
really?
Yeah, nobody's going to be like, oh, well, yeah, he's a drug addict. And if you do make any calls, like say you have something done, you know, it could always come back to you that you made a wrong call because you were under the influence, you know?
Oh, okay.
So I was protecting myself in a way, you know, like making
Was it hard to like let the drugs go?
No, not in there because like, and I'll be honest with you, like that's the highest I've ever felt in there. Healthiest could possibly be, yoked up, you know, and just like in charge, you know. It was definitely a high in itself, you know. I can't believe I would get out and throw it away the first day. You know, first day I would be high. I never made it past a couple hours. You know?
And why do you think you would do that?
I'm not really sure, to tell you the truth. But the first thing I would do is I would want a cigarette, and then I would get the cigarettes, and then I would want to get high, you know. And then I would want pussy in that order, you know. And like that's what happened every time, you know.
You weren't smoking cigarettes in jail either?
No, fuck no.
Damn.
No. Healthiest I've ever been, you know. 3 meals a day, plus proteins and all that shit, you know. Like, I was healthy, dude. Trying to get back to that now.
I mean, you look pretty good, bro. Come on.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, you know, you're making a name for yourself in jail. You get out. How does that life attach back to the outside world?
Because everybody that I knew, like all my homeboys and everyone that I knew from there, you know, and like we were making a name for the SFE, you know, like we were making sure we were on the map, you know, and like if you went to any prison in California, SFE would be the car that was in charge, you know, and so that was what it was. I was like grooming my homeboys to be like that, you know, and like that's what we liked. You know, and like that's what it was, and that all goes back to when like we were staying with my friend and his mom was with the cook. Like the people, like something happened, you know, and like I had this blower. My mom had given me a blower for a truck, a motor, some kind of.
What's a blower?
Like a supercharger, but it's a blower for a motor, for an engine. My mom had given me that, and I gave it to the cook, and he was supposed to sell it, right? Well, he sells it to the biker dudes, but I never got no money, you know. And eventually I tell my mom, you know, and I'm like, this is what's going on. And she called the homeboys, and like 6 of our homeboys came, you know, and these fools were all huge, dude. SFE on their stomachs, like, and they took me and my youngsters to the motorcycle clubhouse and literally punked every biker there. Just straight punked them. These are our kids, whoop. And like, these fools were like scared, you know. Like one of them gave me a ring off his finger and shit, talking about he's sorry, you know. And when that day happened, I was like, this is who I am, you know? I want to be these guys, you know?
How old were you at this time?
We were like 15, 16, yeah. Straight off our first camp term. I looked up to these dudes like they were gods, you know? They literally made a motorcycle clubhouse at their own clubhouse, shit their pants, you know? Like, it was funny, dude. It was crazy. It was like, that's who I want to be like, you know?
Interesting. So how long does all of this continue?
All the way until I was probably about 34.
And are you like progressing through the ranks and, you know, getting...
Yeah, for sure.
More like respect?
Yes. Like everybody knows me, you know, everybody knows me and like what I say goes, you know. And
what was your peak?
My last term in the county jail, I did 6 years in there, and that was my peak. And that because that's when I was actually like, my cellie was a big homie, you know, and like I had the juice, like it was me, you know, and
you're not using in jail?
No, no, fuck no, and like that was a lot of power, you know, like when you make it to the big homie status, like you can, whatever you say goes, you know, everywhere with everyone, you know, and like I got pretty fucking close, you know, and it was crazy because like at this time is when I was actually changing a lot, and because I was like, this is not what I want to be anymore. I don't want to do this. I don't want to put the rest of my life here. I don't want to be in prison for the rest of my life. And
even though that's where you felt the most at home.
Yeah, for sure. But the demographics started changing a lot. Like it changed from being like everybody was like working out and on swole and like soldier status, and to where everybody now was on psych meds and like weird, you know what I mean? Like there was no structure. It wasn't about us anymore. It was just about dope and money. You know, it turned into like something that didn't matter, you know? It was like, fuck, so much for family, you know?
What was there like an event, a specific event that made you kind of look at that in a different way and try to change?
Yeah, that was when the people that I was mentioning that went to the clubhouse, when they got busted and ended up like PCing up, you know, and telling on people. And one of them got caught for a murder and told on the guy, you know, and was able to stay out of jail, you know, and that shit broke my heart, like totally broke my heart. Like I ended up hating what it was supposed to be about, you know, because like, fuck you, you know, you taught us how to be a certain way and then you just switch up and turn into that, you know. So I really started looking at it, and like people were really scandalous, you know, like people would fucking do shady moves on people and like just to come up on drugs or money or whatever, you know, and like their own family, like their own like homeboys, like we're supposed to be a family, you know, and like I never really liked that, you know, I never tolerated it, you know, and so I was going against the grain with a lot of people, you know, and like I just felt like fuck this place, you know, fuck this whole fucking, it's not what it was, you know, or what it was supposed to be.
Did you feel like maybe at one point you would be in that situation where somebody would snitch on you?
Well, I was getting snitched on because, like I said, I made my name so well known that it got to the point where like I couldn't bust a grape, because if I did,
bust a grape?
Yeah, like
what is that?
Like if someone did something I didn't like and I wanted to do something about it, like I couldn't, because they would just tell the cops, you know, and they know my real name, you know, and I'd be busted, you know, like. So I ended up like kind of teaching myself, you know, I did so much time. I ended up doing like 28 years in prison. Total. And that's including the juvenile part and all that, you know. And I had ended up doing so much time that like if I was in a stolen car, I was going to get 6-8 years, you know, like terms started being real, you know. If I did something little that would get you 16 months, it would get me 10 years, you know?
Wow.
So it wasn't worth it to me, you know. And so I like eventually got myself to the point where I did no crimes. Like I would not crime at all. I would fucking be homeless on the street, starving, and I don't give a fuck. I would not go in there and steal anything, you know? Like I would literally die before I would do a crime. That's how fucking...
Because you wanted to stay out of jail.
Yep. Because it became the biggest waste of time, and I realized it, you know, like, yeah, I studied a lot. I read hundreds of books, you know, like all fucking top-notch nonfiction shit, you know, and like would get my body right and everything dialed right in, only to come out and just get high and throw it all away, you know. And like I figured I'm just wasting my life. Like there's nothing, anything I do, if I go sell pounds of dope or I go do this or that or make a bunch of money, it's gone as soon as you get busted. There goes your bail, there goes your lawyer, everything that you had is gone. And every time you come out, you have to start with absolutely nothing, you know. They give you $200 and the clothes on your back, and that's all you have to start with, you know. And I got fucking tired of that. The older you get, the harder it is, you know. Like $200, come on, that's gone in a day. You get a room for the night, fuck it, it's over, you know. And so like I don't know, like I eventually used drugs and didn't crime and stayed living out here on the streets. Well, when I got out from that term, the 6 years in the county, I got on this thing called ODR, right?
What's that?
Office of Diversion and Rehabilitation, and it was some kind of program that they set up for people like me that didn't know how to live life on the streets, you know. Like I never had a job. I felt so uncomfortable. If you were normal, I wouldn't even be able to talk to you. Like unless you were a criminal or on drugs, like I was like, whoa, you know. I had no social skills at all, you know. And so they made this program where they would give you housing, you know. And I got the housing from the jail, and they got me an apartment in South Central. And I stayed there for 7 years, you know, and like, it was supposed to be for life, but I fucking ended up ruining it by leaving. But it was like, I didn't do anything. I just stayed in that fucking apartment and just tweaked my ass off, you know. And like, I'm kind of glad that I lost the place because it forced me onto the street, you know. And like,
What was that life like on the street?
Oh man, dude, that's hard. Like I fucking do not feel like any type of like desire to ever be like that again. Like that is the hardest way to live ever, you know. And like they try to say people want to live like that or they choose to live like that. There is no choice in that. Once you're at that level, fucking it's like you can't get out, you know. You're dirty, you don't have a place to shower unless you're doing crime.
And you weren't.
I would not, you know. I couldn't get a gym membership to go shower because I wouldn't have money, you know. And like I would get my GR money and just spend it on drugs in a room, you know. And like
how long would the GR money last?
A couple days. The $220 they give you, a couple days.
And then how did you manage, you know, the rest of the month?
Just fucking being with a chick, you know. I'll be honest, like I would be with some chick, you know, and like I really would just do drugs, you know, and stay in my car, you know. And then my car ended up getting totaled and I fucking parked it like a fucking idiot all the way up on past Valley Circle, up in the hills up there, you know, and then I would walk down and meet my girl and fucking be like lost. And then when I would go to sleep, I'd have to get back there, you know. And I went to sleep there one night, and when I woke up in the morning, like that was the feeling of rock bottom. Like I literally felt like I wanted to die, you know. I had nowhere to go, nobody to call, no food, nothing, you know. I'm literally just stuck in this car. And like I called my girl and I was crying, and I told her like I really feel like dying. And I've never felt like that before in my life, you know. Like I've faced a lot of trials and tribulations, but never to the point where I literally wanted to die, you know. And I was like, fuck, dude, I didn't know what to do.
How come you didn't go to your mom's?
My mom was in Florida. My mom moved away 10 years ago.
And she was doing good, like she got...
Yeah, she's in Florida doing good, you know. And
clean time and everything.
But I've always been on probation or parole, you know, so I can't leave the state, you know. Like, you can't leave the state like that, you know. And she lives with my aunt out there, like, there's no room for me. I can't move out there, you know. So there was nothing for me to do but try to make something happen on my own, you know. And my girlfriend would be like, okay, look, I got money. Let's get a room. Come meet me. And so I did. And I had started talking to Tarzana to try to get a hotel voucher, you know. And I was talking to this guy.
Tarzana Treatment Center.
Yes, Tarzana Treatment Center. And I was talking to this guy at Tarzana, and he got me a hotel voucher for a week, right? And then, but when the week was over, it was back to the street again and nowhere to go. And I just kept talking to him. And finally in the hotel room, I called him and I was like, look, I want to go to treatment. Like, I feel like I'm going to die, you know? Mm-hmm. Like, I literally feel like I'm going to die.
Was it because the addiction was just so overwhelming and the lifestyle that came with it?
It was just like, actually, like I would do the drugs and not even feel them, you know? I was so depressed and such in like a state of like, what am I going to do? You know, like there's nowhere for me to go, literally. You know?
And would you try to quit on your own?
Like that was my way of quitting on my own. Was I got a hold of that guy and I told him, you know, I want to come to rehab. Can you please get me in? I'm going to die, you know? And like, he said, okay, look, go to Tarzana Treatment Center in Oxnard and check in and see if they let you in today. You know, hopefully they do or not, you know? So I did some heroin so I could be admitted into the detox. Told my girl, I said, I'm going to rehab. She's like, yeah, right. And I'm not going to lie, I did a big old fucking fat shot of dope and looked at her and said, I'm going to rehab. She's like, yeah, right, you're going to fuck some bitch. I went out, got on the bus, went straight to Tarzana, never looked back.
And that was the beginning of your sobriety journey.
Yep.
So that's where so as soon as you step into Tarzana, that's when
it was done.
It was done.
Mm-hmm.
So technically you've went to treatment once.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I went to Tarzana, and when I was in detox, I told them that I wanted to go to Long Beach because I didn't want to be there. I knew everybody in the treatment already. Like, I know everybody. I wanted to be away from everyone that I know. I want to do that. I went with the clothes on my back. No money, nothing, you know. I lived out of the donation bin and got through it, you know. And when that was done, they have this thing called RBH, which is recovery bridge housing. So if you go do 90 days in treatment, they give you 6 months of free rent in an RBH, you know. Like, you're still connected to the rehab, and you can get a job and save all your money for 6 months. Mm-hmm. And so I went to this place called Safe Refuge in Long Beach, did that, interned for them, started working there for them, fell in love with working in treatment, and never looked back, dude. That's how it all stopped, you know?
Yeah, props to you, man. A lot of people go to treatment a few times before they're able to get it right. Why do you think that for you it was that one time that was it?
Because like I literally hit that rock bottom. Like I literally hit the point where I couldn't do it no more. There was nothing I could do. You couldn't pay me to do drugs today because like it just kills you, you know? It literally kills you spiritually, everything, you know? And I just couldn't do it anymore, dude. It wasn't worth it. And I literally cut everybody that I know off, you know? If you're in treatment, then I'll talk to you. Like if you're in the program, I'll talk to you. Like I haven't talked to Clint in years, you know? But he hit me up. He's like, dude, I've been following you. I see you're doing good, you know, and like, and I'm doing good now. Cool, you know, we can talk. But if you're on drugs or nothing, no communication, dude.
Yeah,
none. I don't, it's not that I don't feel sorry for you but that's your choice. I feel like everybody has their own choice, you know, and you're the only one that can make it. Period. They can't talk you into it. They can't teach you it. They can't convince you of it. There's only one person that can do it, and it's yourself.
Yeah. You are the secret sauce.
Exactly.
You know.
Exactly.
Doesn't matter how good the program is that you're at, how much money you have, how much support you have, how loving your parents are. If you don't want it, it's not going to happen.
Not going to get it.
Do you think that people need to hit that rock bottom before they actually want it, or do you think that people can not hit that rock bottom and save themselves from that?
Well, I think that some people, like, they don't realize how bad it is, you know, because the drugs are, like, subjugating, you know, completely taking over your mental, like, unwillingly. You have no control. You think everything's okay, but that's what you think. But everybody from the outside looking in sees that this is not okay. Like, you're not okay. But it's fooling. It's like, cunning, powerful, cunning, baffling, and powerful. And it is, because you totally think you're normal. You're fine, you know, but you're not. And hopefully people can see that before they hit rock bottom, because rock bottom's not a place you want to be, you know?
Oh, yeah.
It is not, it is the worst, dude. When you're out there on the streets and you're dirty and people won't even talk to you because you smell, you know, and like you literally can't sleep because there's nowhere to sleep, like, you know, unless you just go ahead and finally get so tired you lay down on a bus bench, you know, and like, what kind of life is that, you know? Like, no way. I pray that people don't have to hit the rock bottom, you know, but it seems like most do before they're willing to change, because they're able to take the bits and pieces out of it that are good, you know, like, oh, I was doing so good, or I fucked this many bitches and I had this going on, and like, but they don't remember the parts where they were fucking broke and nobody wanted to fuck with them and they couldn't get a job, and, you know, like, the bad shit was happening, the drama and all that shit, like, you know, people getting hurt, you know, and like, it just seems like when you're on drugs, bad thing after bad thing happens, no matter what. Everything just keeps going, bad shit, you know? And then you're just struggling trying to make up for whatever bad thing happened, you know? Being sober, like, dude, like, it's nothing but good.
Yeah.
Like, it's nothing but good. And the further it gets, the more time I get, the more goals that I meet. Like, man, dude, that's the best feeling ever. Like, fuck, I got my own bank account. I got a 781 FICO score. Like, fucking, yeah, right, you know? Like,
fuck yeah.
Fucking what? You know what I mean? Never on drugs, you know? Things that make you feel good, you know?
That's awesome, man. So you go through the program, you know, you're sticking through it. What's your biggest motivation to keep it going? Are you fighting urges to go back out there during this time?
Well, my biggest motivation is like, I want to be able to leave something for my kids, you know? Like, I definitely want to be able to like build a foundation for them to have when I go, you know? Because me being in that position and not having the support of my family ever is like, that's the hardest spot to be in, you know? Like, kids need that support. They need that. Without that, then they're at the bottom, you know? So my whole motivation is to like build something that they can have, you know, that's going to help them out, try to break the curse, you know? That's
amazing, man. That's amazing. So you're sticking to the program, you know, you're doing all the right things, going to meetings, doing the steps, getting a sponsor, right?
Yeah.
just fully immersing yourself in the process of progress. So then at some point you graduate the treatment, right? How was that transition like? Like now you have some time clean. It's a new thing. You've been living different your whole life. How do you transition back into the real world?
It was cool because I interned at the place Safe Refuge, so I could get hired there. And that was my first job I ever had in my life, And so I was able to go from living there to working there. And
what was your first job?
Working at Safe Refuge.
Like house manager, like tech?
They call it driver security monitor, which is the equivalent of a tech,
Mm-hmm.
So I like taking care of the clients and driving them and doing everything. And it's a huge place, 350 clients, so I got a lot of experience, and a lot of feel for the game,
How long do you work there before ending up at Cry Help?
I worked there for five months,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then a girl came in that I had had a previous relationship with before, and I didn't what is it called? What's the word? Disclose that.
Okay.
Right? And so I got in trouble for it. Like 70 days into her program, she asked me for a ride, and I told her no. And she fucking went and told him that that's my ex-girlfriend, and da-da-da-da. Look, we've been talking on Facebook, and so I got fired,
Wow.
So from April until now, this month, I was going to school. I got certified Medi-Cal peer support specialist, my RAD-T, and all my certifications so I can work at a big company, Applied for Cry Help. I got hired at Cry Help in Phoenix House, but I chose Cry Help because they're the big dogs,
Yeah, man.
Mm-hmm.
And how long have you been at Cry Help for?
For a month.
For a month?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Awesome, man.
Yeah.
How would you motivate somebody who has a similar background as you, who's grown up, in that system, thinks that that's the only way out? How would you tell that person that there's a better side?
I would just have to hang out with them, and show them what I do on a daily, and show them that look, these things are possible, because I'm not gonna lie, before I just thought it was impossible, 69 felonies on my record, hundreds of misdemeanors. I thought I would never get a job, I thought it was not gonna work, but it happened, and all because of one little thing. Just don't use. If you just don't use, things fall into place. And it's I love the community of recovery because everybody that's in recovery wants to help you. Everybody. Even when you're not looking for it, they're there for you. And so just ask for help. That's probably the hardest thing, but it's the first step. To be able to ask for help. That's what I would tell someone to do. Get out of your comfort zone and talk to somebody. Let them know what it is you need. Chances are they'll be able to help you or point you in the right direction to do it. My first year being sober, I kind of was just winging it and going to meetings, but not really participating, doing my steps, just kind of it was my sponsor said I was standing in the middle of a river, but dying of thirst,
Wow.
because I didn't drink the water, and my second year now, getting into it and listening to them and following these steps is whoa, night and day, my second year sober now, I've been acquiring and making moves, and it just feels great, dude, and they're there for me. That's what feels good, is somebody's there for you.
Yeah. Do you experience triggers and things like that today?
No, I don't have any triggers. No, I have no desire at all. I know a lot of people have problems letting it go, but I'm telling you, 32 years of it, I ran it out.
Yeah.
There's no, you could
What they call it being done, right?
Yeah, fuck that. Nothing about it is looks good. Nothing.
So how do you deal with the challenges of today?
I just talk to my sponsor. I ask a lot of questions. I'm constantly on the internet. ChatGPT is my friend. That's my best friend.
Okay.
Literally, I'm on that thing nonstop. And
I like Grok better. Have you
yeah,
used Grok?
Yeah, Grok's cool too. But
Grok's cool.
for some reason, I just have this relationship with ChatGPT that's been that's what I started with, and
Yeah.
I feel like it knows me so well. I'm telling you, I use it for everything. It's designed to my gym workouts, my nutritional things, my shopping lists, everything. It's pretty dope. it structured my company, like everything. Things are looking good. Like I've started my own company. I haven't been able to get it like up and running because I might have jumped a little ahead of myself, you know. But
what's your company?
It's called Grace Forge Recovery. Mm-hmm. And it's an outpatient urban agricultural vocational rehabilitation center.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, I want to like use I thought about it like 5 years ago that I wanted to do indoor farming, you know, and I incorporated that into an outpatient program, you know, to have my clients like farm and learn a vocational skill and do farmers markets and stuff like that and learn how to work because like that was my biggest like obstacle getting sober. Okay, now I'm sober, but now what? I don't know how to live life.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what to do next, you know, like I don't know how to go into the car dealership or get the bank account or, you know, and I learned all that shit and fucking it's good, dude. It's good.
Yeah.
Now, after I get, because I'm getting a settlement for being in that McLaren Hall, you know? And once I get that settlement, then I'll be able to put my own skin in the game into my company, and then it'll take off, you know?
Yeah, man. God bless the road that you're taking. You know, I wish you the most success.
Thank you.
And definitely, I feel like your spirit will help those in need. And I believe that God puts us exactly where we need to be at the right time, as long as you believe in that. And I know you believe in God and you have your own understanding of it. But at the end of the day, you know, either he exists or he doesn't.
Oh, he does, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. And you're right. Like, I totally feel that we are all in the point of our lives and places we go through, everything for a reason. Like, I feel like it's already scripted, you know? And that's how I'm able to make myself happy and just feel content. Like, I know that I'm where I'm supposed to be, you know? And things will happen the way they're supposed to. And I get a lot of comfort from that.
Awesome. God bless you, brother. I appreciate you sharing your wisdom with us. And happy to have you on the sober side.
Thanks, brother.
Yeah.